This sector is now under my control. Stand down and prepare for Vega occupation.
Hello everyone, this is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard the Starship in Normal Prize for another episode of Homeworld FX Galaxy Ship Showcase Series. Today, as you can see, we are taking a look at the Kushan. So, before we get going, I do have to let you guys know I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold today. I've taken medicine and everything for it, but I might be, putting a lot of interruptions because of drinking tea, or might cough a couple times in this video. I apologize about that. I'll try to cut out as much of it as I can. But I just want to let you guys have a heads up in case you notice something different in this video than normal, or if my voice sounds different than normal. So, but anyways, let's take a look at the Kushan, which for me, in the Homeworld universe, Kushan is my favorite faction of all. I love their style. It's very blocky, very basic. I love the fact that the ships have very, obvious functions and whatnot. But in this mod, I will warn you guys that this is still a work in progress. So there's going to be balance issues. There's going to be some functions that might change in the future based off of what I showcased today. So keep that in mind, and you won't find the Kushan faction in the shimmering path. They haven't implemented yet because they're still working on the faction. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at our first ship, which is the Interceptor. Now, the Interceptor, just like in Homeworld 1, is your main dogfighter. They are designed to go up against other fighter class ships. They don't have the firepower to really take down anything larger than fighters. So that's pretty much what you would use these guys for, just to fight other fighter class ships. And it looks like we get a squadron of 5. It doesn't really show you over here. I think that's one update that they are probably going to work on, is tell you like how much the squadrons are, or give you like the little template that shows you, okay, 5 ships come with a squadron, or 8 ships come with a squadron like the other factions do. Like I said, still work in progress, so they'll eventually get to that. Anyways, so these are the Interceptors, and I'm not really going to pay attention to these down here because these could also change over time. So this is kind of a rough estimate of what's going on. Okay, and our second fighter class is the Attack Bomber. And if you guys are familiar with Homeworld 1, these are ships that have plasma bombs in the middle. Their primary objective is to take down large capital ships. That's exactly what these guys are. They're useless against other fighters and corvettes, but any slow-moving ships like frigates and above, they'll do a pretty good job on. Also, apologize about the barking too. We have a delivery that's going on right now, and my parents are outside trying to help with the delivery because it's like a crate that they're trying to bring into the house. So they might bark a couple times in this episode as well. And I was going to help them, but since I have a cold, I didn't want to get my parents sick or get the delivery guy sick, so that's why I'm up here recording a YouTube video. Anyways, that's the assault bombers. Next, we have our third and final fighter, the Cloak Fighter. Now, the Cloak Fighter, you only get 1 per squadron. That might be updated in the future, or it might be, or they might have it purposely designed that way. The Cloak Fighter has the ability to cloak itself, which allows it to infiltrate into the enemy and kind of surprise attack enemy fighters. Because it does do a decent amount of damage and has a decent amount of health for 1 ship. Again, work in progress. This can all change in a future video. But to me, because of the fact we don't have scouts, I think they're probably going to make this the scout and have it focus on infiltrating into the enemy ranks to get reconnaissance information to the fleet, and then figure out what they're going to do with that. So yeah, but yeah, we can cloak the Cloak Fighter, and it'll stay cloaked for a limited amount of time and decloak. But yeah, that's what's going on with that one. And that's all the fighter class ships you can build on the Kushan. Apologies about that. That's all the fighter class ships that the Kushan can build, so let's take a look at the Corvette class. So first up on our list is the Multigun Corvette. And any of you guys familiar with Homeworld 1, The Multigun Corvette is a ship that has 6 fast-moving turrets that can track things very quickly. This makes it very effective against fighter-class ships, but it doesn't have the firepower to take down on anything larger than the fighter-class ships. So it's very effective against large swarms of fighters, but pretty much useless against anything else. So yep, there is the Multigun Corvette, and there's not much to really say about this. From the lore, this ship was developed to fight back the Kadesh in Mission 7, because we realized that their swarmers were incredibly fast and incredibly powerful, but they were extremely weak when it came to armor. So we designed a ship that had multiple turrets on it with a special targeting computer that can control all the turrets and use it as a response against the Kadesh swarms. So, if anyone's curious, that's where this ship came from. Next we have the, I guess we'll just go down the list. Now we'll stick with the list here.
Confirmed.
So next we have the Heavy Corvette. Now the first Corvette class ship that we developed was the Light Corvette, which was basically a power plant with a weapon on it. It had like little to no armor, but it had an incredibly high amount of speed for a Corvette class ship. In this mod, we don't have the Light Corvette, and that's because the Multigun Corvette is more of an advanced version of the Light Corvette. The Heavy Corvette is a heavily armored Corvette class with 2 heavy gun cannons in the front. These gun cannons are slow at targeting, so it's not really good against fighters, but it has the firepower to fight back other Corvette class ships. Not quite powerful enough to fight frigates though, unless you have a really large swarm of heavy corvettes, and they could probably take down frigates pretty well. But in this mod, it is your main answer to Corvette-based attacks. And so it doesn't have the tracking to fight fighters, but doesn't have the firepower to fight frigates. So it's designed to fight other corvettes. And the lure for this guy, I believe it was just our answer against the Tyrannic Raiders when they fought us in Mission 2. We decided to take some of the upgrade our Light Corvette to better handle Tyrannic Raider Corvettes. So much going on, brain not work. Okay, and our next one is the Salvage Corvette.
Acknowledged.
Which is one of my favorite ships of all time in Homeworld, because it's just this gigantic electromagnet that goes up to an enemy ship and just attaches to it and then brings it back home. This was originally designed during the construction of the mothership, so that they can grab asteroids and bring them towards the scaffold, so they can break it down and use it to construct the mothership. And then eventually, in Mission 3, when Karak got attacked, we decided to, we developed it back in Mission 1, where we tested it against target drones and seeing how well it would work against metal targets instead of asteroids. And then we decided to, weaponize it in Mission 3 when we were trying to figure out what the heck happened to Karak. So that's the lore behind this guy. And this is your salvage and capture ship. It says right down here. This is what you'll be using to capture enemy ships in the game. And then our final one is the Cannon Frigate, which is new to this mod.
Responding.
And if you guys notice, it looks like the mine layer Corvette, which it doesn't actually deploy any mines. This ship is designed to improve the weapon systems of the nearby Corvettes. It has no weapons of its own, but it can buff up your heavy Corvettes and multi-gun Corvettes in battle. And I don't know if there's much lore to the mine layer Corvette. We just noticed that the Titan were using it, and we decided to reverse engineer it to the Corvette class hull, so we can use it against the Titan. That's pretty much it, because we discovered these in, I think, Mission 10 during the Supernova mission. Not a whole lot of story to this one, though. Okay, and that is all of the Corvette class ships. Next we have the frigate class ships, which first on our list is the Missile Frigate, which is a modified drone frigate to launch missiles instead of actual drones. Because a drone frigate had this central controller here that launched a bunch of drones around it in a sphere formation, and then those ships would pinpoint like enemy fighters coming in and shoot them down. This one has been transformed to where this is a control center for a bunch of missile silos, and it launches these missiles out to try to destroy fighters and corvettes, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they'll actually be good against corvettes, but I believe they are very fast-moving concussion missiles, so they're really effective against fighters. Maybe in a small squadron missile corvettes or frigates you can take down a corvette, but it probably doesn't have the firepower to do that. And many of you guys want to know the lure from drone frigates. That was one of our responses to the Kadesh. We could either build a drone frigate or a multi-gun corvette. So it was just one of our responses to the powerful swarmers of the Kadesh. And then next we have the Assault Frigate.
Standing by.
Now, in Homeworld 1, Assault Frigates were mainly were designed as your frontline frigate class ships. You had these powerful turrets around it, and then the plasma bombs in the middle. So it could be used as a frontline attacker against frigates, where your other more powerful frigates would come out to do the damage while the assault frigate keeps the attention. In this mod, they kind of changed it. Instead, this is a Corvette / subsystem killer. So I believe these turrets are probably weaker than what they were in Homeworld 1, but faster tracking, allowing them to take down corvettes pretty easily. And then it can look at an enemy ship, like let's say it comes up to a destroyer, it can maneuver behind the destroyer, shoot out its engines with its plasma bombs, and then the larger capital ships can come in and finish up the job. So it's used to kind of turn the tide in battle with its fast maneuvering engines and whatnot to help the larger capital ships when they see something that's endangered. It sees something that would probably really kill them. Okay, and then the next is my all-time favorite ship in the Homeworld universe, the Cannon Frigate. It's specifically the Kushan version. The reason why this is so special to me, because this was the first ship that had the powerful particle cannon that I saw, other than the Iron Array frigates that you see on Mission 4 in Homeworld 1. But this was the ship that I started building to try to get through Homeworld. Because for the longest time I was stuck on Mission 4 and I couldn't figure out how to beat the Tyrannic Carrier before you destroyed the mothership, till I discovered the Iron Cannon frigates, and I was like, oh my god, these things are amazing. And I started building just a large group of Iron Cannon frigates. It's when I discovered the true power of the Ion Cannon beam. Also, I apologize about the engine noise in the background. I can't do anything about that because we're on multiplayer. Normally I would do this to make it go away, but that doesn't work in multiplayer, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. And for the Ion Cannon frigate, obviously its main advantage is it's strong against frigates and capital ships because of the particle cannon, but that is its only offense. It has no defense whatsoever to speak of, other than its high level of armor for a frigate class ship.
Standing by.
Well, I always think it's high level armor because of the way it's designed, but it's actually weaker than the assault frigate. But anyways, so since it has no other defenses whatsoever, it needs some sort of escort in order to protect itself from fighters and corvettes, because it's extremely vulnerable to bombers, because it can't track bombers with its particle cannon because they move so quickly, and bombers are effective against frigates. I think that's one reason why I like this ship so much, because it has a very distinct what it's strong against and what it's weak against, and it looks cool. Like, who wouldn't want to be on this bridge here watching that particle cannon go off? That would be freaking awesome. Anyways, that is all of the frigate class ships on the Kushan side. Oh hey, we actually don't have the engine glitch. That was just the engines working normally. Never mind. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. So next we have our super capitals. We have our carrier class ship. which, oh, excuse me, geez, burping up tea for some reason. So the carrier class ship, just like in Homeworld 1, can build fighters, corvettes, and frigates. It has a couple docking bays for the resource collectors. It can store fighters and corvettes into its docking bay. It's just pretty much your typical production level ship. The only thing that's special about this, which you guys probably saw, is the carrier can rebuild the motherships. The one thing that's interesting about this faction in FX Galaxy is it operates similar to the Tidan and the Kadesh put together. It has the protection. I apologize about that. We had a discussion about some of my finances for the past like 20-30 minutes. Because I was trying to see if maybe I could take over one of my student loans since I'm doing good at work, but we kind of just decided to put more down on what I'm currently paying to get me out of debt faster, and then take the one that we're talking about back from my parents once I get the ones I'm currently paying off. It's fun when you get to talk about how far debt you are. Anyways, I believe we got done talking about the carrier. If not, I'll kind of summarize a little bit. The carrier you can build your fighter, corvettes, and frigates from. It's also the only one in this mod where you can rebuild your mothership, or you could build a second mothership, as you can see. And because of that, that allows you to build more super capital ships quicker, since you can only build super capital ships from your motherships, and build other ships and whatnot. So yeah, you can use that to your advantage to produce stuff and get the fleet going at a quicker pace. We'll be talking a little bit more about the mothership when we actually get to that. But anyways, next is the Kushan destroyer, which again is one of my favorite ship designs because it's very simple and it works the way it's supposed to. It's got 2 heavy kinetic cannons on front, 2 heavy ion cannons on the sides. It is designed to fight against frigates and other super capital ships. I believe it's also the frontline attacker when it comes to going toe-to-toe against other super capital ships. This is the one that usually leads the charge. Now, one interesting fact about the Kushan destroyer, the sound it makes in Homeworld 1, I swear, I believe they actually took the microphone, put it up against a cat while it was purring, and made that the sound for the engines, like when it's sitting there doing nothing, because it sounded exactly like the way my cat used to purr, like 100% exact. So I'm pretty convinced that's what they did to get the sound for the idle sound for Kushan destroyers and missile destroyers as well. So that's just a fun fact from the original Homeworld. And anyways, in this one, we don't have the missile destroyer. We have the torpedo destroyer, which has basically been upgraded to launch fast-moving concussion torpedoes. This makes this ship extremely effective against, it says Corvette down here. I thought you were actually good against fighters and corvettes. Maybe it's a little bit too slow to
mothership.
To track fighters. It says strong against fighters and corvettes, but it might specialize against corvettes.
Ready.
And it might just be a little bit. Its targeting might be a little bit slower to fight fast-moving fighters. But anyways, unlike the Kushan destroyer, the missile destroyer or torpedo destroyer is the exact opposite functionality of the destroyer class, because the destroyer has those 2 heavy kinetic cannons on top, which are good at fighting frigates, but they are too slow to track fighters and corvettes, where the missile destroyer's missiles don't do enough damage to really be effective against capital ships. So they go hand in hand when it comes to what they're weak against and what they're strong against. And then next we have the most powerful ship in the Kushan arsenal, the heavy cruiser, which I think it's the blocky style, but I love the design of the Kushan destroyer, or Kushan heavy cruiser. You have 3 powerful kinetic turrets on the left side, 3 powerful kinetic turrets on the right side, 2 twin heavy ion cannons in the front. This is, and the bridge, which is right here. That would be amazing to watch all that firepower flying around when you have the bridge right there. And there's another bridge down here. Indeed. I think this is like the main bridge, like the command bridge, and this is like a secondary bridge for like, I don't know, like communications and whatnot. But anyways, the heavy cruiser, its turrets are extremely slow, so it's very weak against fighters and corvettes. In fact, it's usually 100% useless against fast-moving fighters and corvettes. It is very deadly against frigates and other capital ships. But one weakness that the heavy cruiser does have is it's not really effective against the large super capital ships like the Dreadnought, the Titan battleship, like those new ships that have been added into the mod. This one's only really good against the weaker, like heavy cruiser, destroyers, like stuff like that. For the Kushan, they really don't have an answer for those very super large capital ships. They, you could probably use bombers or like ion cannon frigates or stuff like that, like a large group of ion cannon frigates, but they don't really have a ship that can go toe-to-toe against really large, powerful super capital ships. So do keep that in mind when playing this faction. But I love the Archangel heavy cruiser. It's one of my favorites. But anyways, I think that does it for all of the combat ships. Let's go ahead and take a look at the non-combat ships. Oh god. No, not this song. No! It's a good song, but I always get in trouble when that song plays. So one of the only non-combat ships you can actually build on this faction is the gravity well generator. In Homeworld 1, this generator was used as a way to malfunction the fighter and corvette engines, so you can easily knock them out when they get close to the gravity well generator. And also in Homeworld 1, when you activate the gravity well generator, it only lasted a limited amount of time until it ran out of fuel for the generator, and then it exploded because the gravity generator goes haywire and there was no way to actually contain that. So once you turn it on, you can't turn it off, and once it runs out of juice, it blows up. In this one, they kind of changed the purpose of the gravity well generator. Instead, it's a hyperspace gravity well generator, which means that it works similar to a probe, where you move it somewhere, and once it gets to that destination, it deploys, and all this area around it will prevent enemies from hyperspacing in and out of this area. And it doesn't look like there's a limit to how long it stays on, because it's been deployed for how long I've been doing this recording. So it can stay there and be deployed indefinitely. And then after that, that's our only real non-combat ship other than our harvesting stuff, and we'll get to that. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about them right now. So after that, we have our harvesters who are done doing their stuff, but they've modified the harvesters a little bit so that they only have half their cargo container, which I kind of like the way it looks. So they don't hold as much RUs as they used to in Homeworld 1. I think they used to hold 650.
Resource collector standing by.
They might hold 200 or 250. And they're just your basic harvesters. They just go up and harvest resources and grab debris and all that stuff.
Resource collector awaiting orders. Ready.
Oh, you harvesters, shut up.
Standing by.
Just die.
Resource collector lost.
Thank you.
Heavily damaged.
Resource collector heavily damaged.
Okay, and then for when it comes to our not our harvesters, but our refineries or mobile resourcing gathering stuff, the support frigate in this mod has been changed to where it's more of a resource refinery, where in Homeworld 1
collector standing by.
It was used as, hang on, there we go. Sometimes just when the resources are like telling you what to do, it gets really annoying, especially when you're not actually using them. I know why it's there. It's the idle resource thing, where it's like, hey, I'm done harvesting. What do you want me to do now? And it gets really annoying sometimes. But anyways, the support frigate in Homeworld 1 was used as a way to repair the fleet and refuel your fighters and corvettes. So you would have 10 docking bays for fighters, and I think 2 or 4 docking bays for corvettes. They would just dock in, get refueled, get repaired, and then leave. And this one, they converted it into being a mobile refinery. So I think that's also why the harvesters have gotten really small. So if we tell the harvester to go ahead and dock in, he'll dock in to the side, unload, and then continue doing what he was doing. So cool. And then next we have the actual resource controller, which is now a maintenance department. So a maintenance department is an upgraded version of a mobile refinery. It has the two dock points for the resource collectors, and also comes with repair corvettes. And these repair corvettes will fly around and repair your fleet automatically. You actually don't have to tell them to do anything. I think all you have to do is tell the maintenance depot to guard like whatever ship, and then it'll tell its repair corvettes to repair that ship. Something like that. Or you can tell to like guard a group of a fleet of ships, and the mobile refineries will go, or the repair corvettes will fly around to try to keep everything alive. So cool. That is the maintenance department, or depot. So the support frigates and the maintenance, or the resource controllers, have basically changed roles in this mod. And then after that, we have the probe. The little single burn reconnaissance probe, which moves extremely fast, 1,200 meters per second, which in Homeworld terms isn't that fast, but for Homeworld 2, that's extremely fast. In Homeworld 1, I think they move 4 kilometers per second, so they move super fast compared to what they do in this one. And I think that's all of the non-combat ships. The next one we have are our research ships, or research donuts, as I like to call them. So, just like the Titan, the Kushan have kept their research ships, but they've been split into 2 different research teams. You have the junior research ship, which I believe is this one. And the junior research ship is the first thing that you build to start doing all of your research. So you would build other research modules like the plasma bomb launcher, which unlocks your attack bombers. Corvette module, which unlocks your Corvette class, which I forget. I think it's Multigun. Or fast tracking turrets is your Multigun Corvette, and then the magnetic field module, your Salvage Corvette. Heavy Corvette upgrade, that's your other Corvette. And then once you get to a certain point, you can build the senior research ship, which is once you build your Corvette module, which then allows you to unlock more advanced technologies like your cloak module for your attack bomb, or Cloak Fighter, ion cannon module for your ion cannon frigate, capital ship module for your destroyer, blah blah blah. And then that's basically how the research works on the Kushan side. And then, of course, you still have your basic researches like your Corvette class, your frigate class upgrades, and your capital class upgrades. But I think that's just about everything when it comes to the Kushan. So again, remember, this is a work in progress. You won't find this team in the Shimmering Path, but you can definitely play it in multiplayer or on skirmish. They're still not completely balanced, so they might be a little overpowered, a little underpowered, depending on you know, the way the balance is. But they are still working on this, and hopefully eventually we'll actually see this in the Shimmering Path. Oh wait, I totally forgot to do the difficulty rating like I normally do at the end of these videos. The difficulty, it's kind of hard to say because it's a work in progress. For me, this would probably be a medium. Medium to medium easy, I believe, is what I would think. They're not too difficult to figure out. They do have a couple interesting differences between the rest, like the fact you can build multiple motherships, which means you can have multiple shipyards. The fact that the support frigate and the resource controller things were swapped. That will probably confuse me a little bit. The fact you have 2 research stations is kind of interesting. Like, there's a lot of cool differences between this one and the other ones, but I would probably say if you're like me who plays defensive, this would probably be a medium, because I think this faction is more focused on aggression, not defensive, the way I normally play. So it'll be kind of difficult for me to like tweak my brain to be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be really aggressive and take over the galaxy instead of defending my fleet. If you're very aggressive, this would probably be an easy one to do, because you can easily move the mothership somewhere and like get that resources going. Also, I totally forgot to talk about the mothership. So the Kushan mothership, just like normally, can build everything in the game. Pretend that this is actually your shipyard, and since you can build multiple motherships, you can have multiple shipyards. The one interesting thing about this faction, I don't know if this is a glitch or if this is intentional, but you can't actually move your mothership. Just like how in the Homeworld 1 campaign you couldn't move the mothership then, you cannot move the mothership with this faction. You don't even have a move command. You can hyperspace, and it's very cheap to hyperspace the mothership anywhere. Okay, now I think I'm officially done. I hope you guys enjoy this. Please leave a like if you did. If you like what I do, consider subscribing, and I will check you guys out in the next video. Until then, this is Captain Soban signing out.
This is the Garden of Kadesh. For 13 generations we have protected it from the unclean. If you have come to join me, welcome you, and will spare you your ship until all have disembarked. If you have come to consume the garden, you will be removed at once. What are your intentions?